am not uncomfortable speaking in front of people, but for some reason, speaking using my own words is very uncomfortable for me. So I had to dig around and find something. Unfortunately, there's a little bit of profanity, so I had to debate whether or not to exclude it. I am not, so profanity will be coming. The book that I'm reading from is Spirelli Paranormal Investigations. It's actually in episodes, and that is like a TV show, meaning there's a beginning, middle, and an end to each of the episodes. Cliffhanger stuff at the end. And this is an offshoot of another series that I have, and all of that's out on the table there. So the main character is Jack. His new employee is Malvern. He has just hired her, and they are off in the car on a case. Jack asked, "How did you get through my ward at the shop?" Malvern pressed her lips together. "What do you know about dragons?" Jack squinted and adjusted his visor. "Let's assume not much." Malvern sighed. "We're not like Lycan, because we don't shapeshift. I'm a dragon, and I'm a woman." "Right, I got that part." Malvern huffed in annoyance. "I'm not sure you do. I'm a dragon and human at the same time." She glanced at Jack, possibly to gauge his reaction. But he wasn't even sure what his reaction was. What she described didn't make any sense. "Then why do I see either a dragon or a human whenever I'm around you guys? It seems like you're picking one." She didn't quite roll her eyes, but it sure felt like she had. "I choose which part of myself you see, which part interacts on a physical plane with this world, but that doesn't mean I'm not both dragon and woman at the same time. You're thinking in terms of humans with magical talents, a human who can use his magic to shift to a wolf, or a crocodile, or a jaguar. But I'm not a human with some magical ability. It's not a question of having magic, I am magic." "What the fuck?" Jack asked the first question that came to mind. "Are you supposed to tell people that shit?" She gave him one of those toothy smiles. Most are smart enough not to ask. She definitely used that creepy smile to intimidate. Cut it out with a dragon grin. "How does all this apply to walking through my ward?" Malvern shrugged. "I choose which part of myself exists at any given time in this world. But I can choose for a very brief moment to allow neither of my forms to exist." "So you're saying that you didn't walk through the ward, that you unexisted yourself through it?" Jack shook his head. "That sounds like teleportation to me." "Not teleportation. A non-physical part of myself remains an anchor in this reality. It's that anchor that moves and to which my physical body returns. Neat, right?" She gave him a brilliant smile, a genuine, not her creepy alligator smile. Jack laughed, her excitement catching. "Yes, that's a handy skill." They both fell silent, but it wasn't an uncomfortable quiet. Jack was pleasantly surprised she'd shared so much. He'd keep his mouth shut, and clearly Malvern knew that. One small step forward in his first employer-employee relationship. He tried not to cringe. Relationships with people, even professional ones, were always so damn complicated. I have a second snip, and the theme to both of these, which I should have told you before, is dragons in this world. So this is another dragon snip for you. So the context for this is they're out on a case, they're doing an aerial search for a missing person, which she will be doing as a dragon. Malvern stepped away from the car, and then she was gone. She was every color and none, or rather, the dragon resting on its haunches about 10 feet away was. Every hue of the rainbow seemed to glint off a silvery backdrop that then faded into a shimmer of nothing. Giant wings flexed, and Jack could see her outline. Not clearly, but the shape and the impression of movement were there. "I'm more clearly visible in motion." Jack clutched his head. The voice, Malvern's voice, screamed. Stabbing pain pulsed through his brain. Several seconds later, he blew out a harsh breath. It took him another few seconds before he could speak. "Ow." The iridescent dragon shimmered into view, again fully visible. Her long, sinuous neck flexed, displaying a rainbow of colors. It took Jack a moment to realize she was ducking her head. "Don't tell me that was an accident." Reptilian eyes blinked, and a bony head dipped in a nod. Jack closed his eyes and pinched the bridge of his nose. When he looked up again, Malvern was smiling. "Probably. Any chance you can try for a whisper?" Another nod. "And maybe not smile. All those teeth are distracting." Dragon teeth immediately disappeared. "Better?" The voice in his head was thin, greedy. Yeah, feel free to knock it up a half notch. Not one of your better talents, is it? The dragon mind meld? Or whatever you call it. Giant reptilian eyes narrowed to slits. Mind speech. And I don't suck. You're my first human. And that's finally just right, Goldilocks. Jack lifted up the cell phone. Am I okay to attach this? Dragon Marin lifted her left foreleg and tapped the ground. My, Grandma, what big claws you have. Okay, maybe the dragon was making him a little nervous, that or he'd reached a new level of cheesiness for some other unknown reason. As he leaned down to attach the phone, Marin flexed her claws. His breath caught. Seriously? Charlotte could be injured in the woods and you're messing with me. She leaned down and huffed hot air in his face. Nice. He smacked her leg. Done. Let me grab my glasses before you take off. Returning with his field glasses and a small handheld GPS unit, he said, all right, whenever you're ready. He still wasn't completely comfortable with Marin venturing off alone, given her lack of concern for the inherent risk, but he certainly felt better after he saw her flex her wings and take flight. Witnessing a dragon shove its massive body into the air, using muscular haunches, straining wings, and willpower was terrifying. While her takeoff had been a demonstration of brute force, watching Marin in flight was something else entirely. Graceful, beautiful even. Jack took his field glasses out. As soon as she'd taken off, she'd shimmered into what looked like nothingness, but her movement let him pick out her camouflaged form from the blue sky. He could even make her out when she was gliding, but just barely. As Jack watched her circle the search area in a spiral pattern, he had to wonder, how exactly could dragons fly? Yes, her wingspan in mid-flight was truly an amazing sight, but her body must be roughly the size of an elephant. Even as long and strong as her wings clearly were, her flight was a physical impossibility. And yet, he watched her skim the treetops. She'd claimed to be a thing of magic, and here was the evidence. Marin's abrupt descent interrupted his thoughts. Her head lifted, and her rear fell, almost as if she was standing in the air. And then she dropped from sight. Magic. That's it.